Good morning, and thank you all for coming. I'd like to thank our City Council President Myrtle Cole and Councilmember Barbara Bree for joining me here today. And I'd also like to recognize the leadership team of the San Diego Police Department and the hardworking officers from the Western Division who are joining us as well. We're here today to announce the budget revisions we've made to the proposed fiscal 2018 budget. But before we get to that, I want to remind everybody what's already in the budget. We've made so much progress over the last 3 years to invest in our neighborhoods. And this budget plan keeps the focus on restoring key city services that the council and I have worked hard together to restore. And even though our pension costs are taking a bigger chunk out of our bottom line, we are going to keep our promise to put neighborhoods first. And this balanced budget keeps a fiscally responsible approach to ensure that we keep our libraries and our rec centers open, to continue our march to repair 1,000 miles of streets, and will provide the largest infrastructure investment of this decade, with nearly $450 million that benefit projects in every single neighborhood. Since we first presented the budget last month, we've received a lot of feedback from community leaders, residents, and of course, our council members. And I just wanted you to know that we are always listening and we've tried to make fair and fiscally responsible adjustments in response to that process. And this May revise adds more than $14 million to the $1.4 billion general fund. That is due to a slight increase in property taxes, revenue, but the vast majority is surplus remaining from the current year's budget, which can only be used for one-time expenditures. And that's in large part to the belt tightening at City Hall and various departments. Some of the new additions to the May revise include $2.4 million for arts and culture, bringing the total amount to arts to nearly $13 million, $150,000 for an officer retention and recruitment study in our police department. And I want to thank Councilmember Chris Cake, Chair of the Public Safety Committee, for working on this proposal, and all the council members, because I think it makes a lot of sense. We have $100,000 for the recruitment of our next police chief. We have additional deputy city attorneys in our domestic violence and neighborhood prosecution units. And we're also projecting an additional $9.6 million from the state's gas tax increase. This new road repair revenue has freed up money in the infrastructure fund that had initially been earmarked for fixing streets. Now we'll be able to use those infrastructure dollars for critical projects, including the Point Loma Fire Station, safety improvements at the State Route 94 and Euclid Avenue interchange, a storm drain update at Avenida de la Playa in La Jolla, and turf replacement at Pershing Middle School's joint use field. We're also getting additional road repair when we've added several infrastructure projects. And finally, I'm going to propose that we put more than $10 million into our general fund reserves. This is the fiscally responsible approach to ensure that our city stays on the right financial track. And our reserve levels were also a key factor in recent credit upgrades to the city. It's a lot of hard work. That's something that we're very proud of. Over the last decade, San Diegans have seen how massive pension payments can wreak havoc on city budgets. And as a result, rec center hours had to be slashed, fire stations didn't get built, and potholes went unfilled. Those were the tough decisions that we had to make in order to keep our city financially stable, because a previous generation of city leaders put special interests above neighborhoods. Thankfully, we are in better financial times, and we've set new standards for fiscal restraint and accountability. But of course, we continue to pay for those financial mistakes of the past. And we know that our pension bill will cause headaches for years to come. So we have to plan ahead. So I'm calling on the City Council to join me in doing that responsible thing, which is to look at the big picture, plan for the long term, and to save money today that we will need tomorrow. And that's exactly what I'm proposing we do. And before I wrap up, I really want to thank the city's financial management department, led by our Chief Financial Officer, Mary Lewis, for the tremendous amount of work that they've done to make sure that this budget proposal is balanced and fiscally sound. I want to thank our Financial Management Director, Tracy McCraner, our Deputy Director, Matt Vespi, our Budget Coordinator, Adrian Del Rio, and their entire team have done a phenomenal job. The entire city thanks you. Now I'd like to turn it over to some of my council colleagues who've been in the midst of the budget review process these last several weeks, and I'd like to introduce our City Council President, Myrtle Cole, to say a few words. Council President?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Faulconer, and good morning. I'm thrilled to hear that many of our priorities have been reinstated and funded in the mayor's budget revision. I know that we are facing challenging times in our upcoming budget, but I want to ensure our community that I will be working with my fellow council members and the IBA to bring the highest level of service in all communities. I'm excited to see that we will be funding an executive search for our next police chief, as well as a retention and recruitment study for our police officers. I'm also looking forward to funding positions to enforce the minimum wage and earn sick leave to our citizens. And I want you to know that your voice is heard in every community. Our priorities are important to this council and this city. This is why I will continue to support funding for our arts and culture in our libraries. Every community deserves the basic necessities to help the residents not just merely survive, but to thrive. I invite the public to continue to speak out and share your ideas and your concerns. I look forward to our upcoming budget hearing in order to continue to discuss the mayor's revised budget. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Council President. Now I'd like to introduce our next speaker, who's the chair of our city's budget committee, Councilmember Barbara Bree. Councilmember?
Thank you. Good morning. I'm pleased with many of the proposed revisions, and I look forward to reviewing the revised budget in full to make sure it addresses all of the community's priorities. Public safety is the #1 responsibility of local government, and I am glad that the financial resources were identified to develop a comprehensive police recruitment plan and a national search for San Diego's next police chief. This search should include extensive community participation. I thank the mayor for listening to the priorities of the community and my fellow council members who expressed the need for increased funding for neighborhood services, including arts, libraries, and public safety. I want to thank the independent budget analyst Andrea Tevlin and her team for their thorough analysis and rapid turnaround time. I would also like to thank my colleagues on the council for clearly outlining their priorities and advocating for their communities. This is a challenging budget year because we saw a sharp increase in our pension payment due to lower than anticipated investment returns and employees' increasing lifespans. Many of the proposed funding increases are one-time expenditures, so we must be mindful of the obstacles we face in fiscal year 2019 and beyond. Community participation is essential when we are faced with making difficult decisions about spending. Thank you to all of the engaged San Diegans who made their way down to City Hall, sent emails and letters, attended district town hall meetings to share their priorities and concerns. Without your input, I doubt many of these important revisions would have been made. Here are the next steps in our budget process. On Thursday, May 18th, the Budget Review Committee will review the mayor's May revise. On May 22nd, council members will issue final budget modification priority memoranda to the Office of the Independent Budget Analyst. On June 1, the IBA will issue their final report on the recommended revisions. And finally, the City Council hopes to wrap up final budget decisions at a public hearing on June 5th. Thank you all, and I look forward to working with the City Council and the Mayor to put our stamp of approval on San Diego's fiscal year 2018 budget.
Thank you. Thank you, Council Member, and thank you, Council President. Putting together a budget every year is an absolute team effort. The Council, Mayor, all of our department heads. And I couldn't be prouder of the work that's been going on, the public input process. It's all about continuing the progress that we've made. Neighborhood services, protecting our libraries, our rec centers, street repair, and of course, public safety. I'm looking forward to the conclusion of the process here in the next several weeks. And with that, any of us up here will be available for one-on-ones. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Council President. Thank you. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, guys.